Hello BookTube and welcome to Weekly Reads. I've had a pretty good reading week, so let's get started. So on Saturday, I read Fifth Sun, A New History of the Aztecs by Camilla Townsend. This is a history of the Aztecs, or more properly the Mexica, from the late 13th century to the beginning of the 18th century. So from the Mexica's wanderings in the Valley of Mexico to the foundation of Tenochtitlan and their rise to hegemony and later conquest by Spain. I like this book. I really like this book. Although I must admit some disappointment. I had hoped for more depth, more focus on the period of the Mexica before their conquest by Spain. So what Townsend does is the first few chapters are focused on pre-conquest. The wanderings and the rise to hegemony. Then there are two chapters devoted to 1519 and 1520, 1521, which are the period of the conquest, or years of the conquest. And then there are about three more chapters that focus on the period of Spanish occupation and colonialism, basically New Spain. And the book really finds its stride during the chapters of the conquest, and especially New Spain. These chapters seem to be really what Townsend's far more interested in than the earlier pre-conquest history. So that was a bit disappointing, but I mean, those chapters are really good. So anyway, I mean, I still like the book. It's just I'd hoped for a book more focused on the pre-conquest history of the Mexica compared to conquest and post-conquest. So I managed to finish Fifth Sun on Saturday, and so on Sunday I decided to read Dead Man's Folly by Agatha Christie. This is an Hercule Poirot novel. It's from 1956, and it's Hercule Poirot being summoned to a small village in Devon at the behest of Ariadne Oliver, the famous mystery novelist who's comedic take on Agatha Christie herself, to help her. Basically, Ariadne Oliver has been commissioned to devise a murder hunt, which is a variation on the treasure hunt, for a fete at Nescombe Lodge, I think is what it's called. But Mrs. Oliver feels that something's off, that she's being manipulated, but she doesn't know by whom or to what end. And so she's asked Poirot to come help her, as well as with the cover that he's going to be presenting the prizes for the winner of the murder hunt. And unsurprisingly for a Christie novel, the victim of the murder hunt is actually murdered. The novel's okay. It's not one of her best. The murder itself, the mystery, is ingenious. The solution is brilliant. The final chapters, the last three chapters, when Hercule Poirot finally figures out what happened, are brilliant. Particularly the final concluding confrontation is just brilliant. But the characterization's shoddy. Particularly, there are two characters who, within moments of Poirot meeting them, go into the most bizarre, needless rants that I'm assuming are meant to make them unsympathetic or give them reasons to commit murder. I mean, they're basically red herring characters, but it's like, what the heck? So anyway, so that was a bit of a mixed bag. And so over the course of so I managed to finish Dead Man's Folly on Sunday. And so on Monday, I started a new book, and I read through the work week. And that was The City We Became by N.K. Jemisin. Now, I've often mentioned that I've struggled with N.K. Jemisin's work. And I approached The City We Became with some trepidation because of that. And I'm very pleased to say that I love this novel. This is The City We Became is fantastic. It's about cities coming into a form of sentience. Basically, in this world, when a city reaches a certain critical mass, it metastasizes, it catalyzes, it becomes conscious, it becomes intentional, it becomes an organism. And this organism is protected and midwifed and represented by an avatar, a person of the city selected for the role. When a city is born in this way, it's usually attacked by an extra-dimensional entity. So in The City We Became, the city of New York has just been born and must defend itself against the attack of this enemy. And he's victorious but exhausted and disappears. And in his place arise 5 sub-avatars who represent the 5 boroughs. And they are put on a quest to find the primary avatar and to defend the city from further attacks from the enemy, who has changed their attacks against the various cities. And it's pretty good. It's a brilliantly written, I think, wonderfully characterized. The world building is incredibly well done. I do have some quibbles with the novel, though. The world building, why exactly are only 2 cities in the Americas fully born? Particularly when you've got older cities, more established cities. So there's that. Also, the novel ends on a Deus Ex Machina. I think that's how you pronounce it. That doesn't really. I mean, it works, and it's a glorious moment, but at the same time, it's an ass pull. There's also a betrayal in the novel that, I mean, you see it a mile away. I mean, it is incredibly telegraphed. And while understandable and believable, it's also disappointing because we see it coming. And while that's dramatic irony, the characters don't see it coming, although you would think they actually would, but there's no swerve, there's no sudden change It's just, yeah, this character betrays them. And I think Jemisin's engagement with Lovecraft bears investigation and critical look, which is far above my knowledge base because I'm really not that familiar with Lovecraft's work or the criticism of Lovecraft. But there's a scene in the book where a group of alt-right artists or alt-right jerks who play at being artists approaches Art Center to get their art shown. And they're rejected because, one, they suck, and two, it's very racist. And there's the last painting they show is basically drawing from Lovecraft, and while there's some talent in the work, it's also not engaging with him. It's really confirming Lovecraft. And knowing that, and then how Jemisin herself uses Lovecraftian themes, Lovecraftian images, the city of Rilla. I mean, you have to wonder how exactly Jemisin uses Lovecraft, how she engages with him and challenges him and turns him over on his head. And does she really do that, though? And that's something that I'm not entirely sure about. But, I mean, on the whole, I love this novel. My criticisms aside, some of that's nitpicking and whatnot, but on the whole, I love this novel. I cannot wait for its sequels to come out. So, anyway. I mean, the thing about me as a reader is that I can love a book. I mean, I absolutely adore a book, and also, I mean, kind of catch some of the critical issues and some issues I have with it, despite my love for it. So anyway, but I mean, I love The City We Became, so yeah. So maybe this is what I needed to get into the rest of N.K. Jemisin's oeuvre. So, moving on to this coming week, I'm planning on reading for the Booktube Prize Mediocre, The Dangerous Legacy of White Male America by Ijeoma Oluo. This is a history of, I guess, white people being poopy or something. I mean, obviously I haven't really looked that much into it because I don't really want to know a whole lot going in what a Booktube Prize book is about, so that I'm not prejudging it or having expectations for which I really shouldn't have. It's like a blank slate. But I'm also, so read this weekend, and then I'll probably talk about, well, just say I read it next Friday, and then haul it, because this will be the vanguard for February's book haul. And once I finish Mediocre, which I should be able to finish early on Sunday, I won't read it all on Saturday because I do want to watch some movies or TV shows on Saturday night. So after I finish Mediocre, I will begin Undone, the second volume of the Legend of the Condor Hero series by Yong. Now, this novel follows on from where A Hero Born ends, with Guo Jing trying to help Charity Bao and I'm blanking on the father's name. Even though they're not going to be sure. Okay, it might take a while to find them. And her husband, to escape Charity Bell's second husband. So, looking forward to getting to this. And, yeah. So, that's my reading plans for next week. I also read some looked at some cookbooks. I've been in a weird space this past week or the past few weeks, and it's kind of manifesting itself in me wanting more cookbooks, even though I really don't need any more cookbooks. So I've been looking at some cookbooks to see if there are any that I would be interested in. And so I took a look at Trejo's Tacos by Denny Trejo, Perfectly Golden, which is a cookbook by the chef who does Goldenrod Bakery, although I'm blanking on her name. And then there was also one that looked at like fictional foods. I think it's called food fiction or food and fiction. That there are some interesting recipes, but some that weren't so interesting. And then there were a few others that I kind of took a peek at, and then I just returned them all to the library because the e-library. Because my reader was acting up. Particularly for Trejo's Tacos, it's like, I don't know what the heck was wrong with the library app or whatever. So, what have I been watching? So on Friday, I mentioned I wanted to watch The Year of Living Dangerously, film starring Mel Gibson, Sigourney Weaver, and Linda Hunt. It's about an Australian journalist covering the last year of President Sukarno's presidency in Indonesia, shortly before the PKI coup and then the Suharto counter coup. And I watched the first 30 minutes or so of it with my mom, and then Hulu, I stream cable through Hulu. I decided to act up, which is usually what happens when I try to watch TCM on Hulu. Anyway, and then I was looking for something else last night, and I saw that I could actually still watch The Year of Living Dangerously, so I went ahead and finished it off last night, and it was quite good. I really enjoyed it. And then on Saturday, I didn't watch anything because I wanted to finish Fifth Son, so I watched a bunch of BookTube videos. And then on Sunday was the Super Bowl, which the less said the better. I mean, congratulations to Tom Brady and the Buccaneers. At least you showed up to play, which is more than you can say for Kansas City, except for Patrick Mahomes. I mean, the game was disappointing. The halftime show was disappointing. The Super Bowl ads were disappointing. So it was a disappointing week. So this week, and I also watched today the 6th episode of WandaVision, and it was phenomenal. I'm loving it. It is a wonderful show. So tonight, I'm probably going to watch Valerian and the City of a Thousand Planets. And then tomorrow, I'll probably start on the second season of Jessica Jones. And then on Sunday, I'm going to restart Ice Fantasy, which is a Chinese television series that features elemental immortals, the Ice Tribe and Fire Tribe fighting for this fantasy world. Then I watched the first 15 or 16 episodes of it, and I quite enjoyed it, but I sort of dropped it. And I want to start over and get back into that. So that's my plan, and we'll see how it goes. Obviously, I don't know what next week's going to look like. Central Texas is about to get hit by an Arctic blast, which is going to affect most of the interior of the United States. Concerning for here because we don't get this. It's incredibly rare for one day to be in the teens as the low. But we're going to enter an extended stretch where we are sub-freezing. It's already nearly 2 days of sub-freezing and likely to have another full week, if not more, of this to go. So, yeah. And, I mean, since we don't usually deal with this, we're not prepared to deal with it. It's going to be harder conditions because of lack of experience. But planning on staying indoors as much as I can and limiting what little time I go outside as much as I can, which is usually just to take out the trash and to check the mail. So I'm not outside that much anyway, but trying to limit it as much as I can to stay warm and not freeze. We got in some groceries, so we should be good on that. And hopefully we won't lose power, because that's a big thing. There's already some communities in Bell County that's lost power for like a day or two already. So hopefully everything works out. So anyway, but if I can manage to do videos, I'll probably do a tag on Monday, either the Choose Your Own Adventure or Black History Month tag. And then on Tuesday, I will do the whole of the alphabet tag that's been going around. I've been tagged by the Bookish Bryant, so thank you for the tag. So I'll do the A to Z, the A to J, and then K to R or something. So I'll do those two. I'll try to do all the alphabet in one video. And then on maybe do some more tags or something Wednesday and Thursday, and then Friday do weekly reads. So anyway, BookTube, I'm going on and starting to ramble. So thank you. Have a great weekend. If you are caught in this Arctic blast, please stay warm and stay safe. So until Monday, thank you, BookTube.